Hey there, everyone. Gen X Man coming to you with a late night video. I've been musing about for a couple days now. I think I finally made up my mind about it, and it was not an easy decision to come to. And to preface this, of course, we are talking about WotC and their inability to go even 2 weeks without a heinous scandal. Not even talking about, useless nonsense that nobody cares about. There's just stuff that you just may shake your head and you're just like, go home, Watson, you're drunk. But I've been chewing on this, the D&D, I guess 2024, 5.5, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it is was it, the 50th anniversary of D&D, and you're looking at somebody who's bought every edition that has ever been outside chainmail. I never owned chainmail. But I own all the back me's. I still have those. I have, the first edition, the second edition. I used to have three and 3.5 and four. And, I eventually sold them all off because I wasn't utilizing them. And I believe that the things we make want to be utilized. They have a purpose, and there's somebody out there who could be using them. And for me, they were just getting dusty on a shelf and not being used. So I sent them back into the sea to be used by somebody who's hopefully going to love them and give them a lot of use. But I still got all my fifth edition stuff. Lots of stuff, official stuff, third party stuff, all kinds of stuff. And here we are again and this strikes me as the same thing as, back when you had 3.0 and then they came out with 3.5, you had your edition, you had your base edition, your 3.0, and it had its problems. It needed errata, it needed polish and clarification and so on and so forth. And they came out with a 3.5, and I rolled my eyes and said, all right, fine, you're going to gank me for 6 books instead of three, fine, whatever. And I didn't like it. Didn't sit well with me because, I mean, I've got the 2E books, same books I've been using for what, 30 plus years now. So it's just, it always irks me when I have to buy the same set of books twice for the same system, essentially the same system. And here we go again. We had 5E. It's doing great. Of course, there's plenty of errata out there. There's plenty of house rules and so on and so forth. And me being an old school player, that was nothing new. It didn't phase me. And then they come out with 5.5 or 2024, whatever you want to call it. And they said, hey, why don't you buy some more books that you already have? They're just, they're arranged different and they have slightly different rules. And they've incorporated a couple homebrew rules and blah, blah. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, that was already irking me. It was gonna be another $150. I really don't want to drop that. I mean, these books ain't cheap. I ain't made of money. You know, so I was chewing on it, and then we have the series of blunders here. I took some notes just to keep it all straight. We had the OGL scandal a couple years ago where WotC really revealed their hand, saying, we want to own everything. Everything you make belongs to us. We make money off it. We don't give you credit. Blah blah blah. Thankfully, everybody got up in arms and let them know that that was not acceptable, and even more thankfully, they backed down. So that was a good resolution. It left a bitter taste for not only myself, I'm sure plenty of people, where we're all just kind of like, man, that was slimy. That was slimy. I don't know. But you let the water go under the bridge and you say, okay, okay, okay. I've been doing this game for my entire life. Not about to stop now. Let's just see where this goes. And they hired that Cynthia Williams lady with your infamous line about how D&D was under monetized, and I'm like, okay, so you know their intent has not changed. They just want to squeeze this thing for every penny they can get out of it. And it's, I understand. I understand business has to make money, but in my mind, there's a huge difference between making money and you're sustainable and you keep going and you make your product and everybody's happy with you and you're happy with them and you're a betterment to the world, your benefit. And then there's like, oh, we care about some money. We just want all the monies we can get, not only now but forever. Maybe we'll give you something. Maybe you'll care about it. Maybe you won't. We don't care. We just want the monies. And that's the kind of stuff I walk away from because. Coming from nothing, money doesn't isn't a powerful motivator for me. I also have a tendency to dig in my heels at times. But anyway, about a year after that, we had the infamous, the absolutely infamous sending the Pinkertons to reclaim a box of magic cards that WotC themselves had accidentally sent out. I mean, this was not a nefarious plot by some innocent little YouTuber who's just like he's like, oh, I got it's early Christmas for me. I'm gonna go on YouTube and show everybody, and it's just kind of like I mean, WotC could have spun that. They could have just been like, oops, and embraced it and hell hired the YouTuber and just, subsidized them or something. They could have spun this to where it would have been like a win for them. Instead, they send out the Pinkertons. You all know the story. I mean, the Pinkertons of all freaking people, you know? Yeah, we're very familiar with the Pinkertons, and it's not cool. When those people show up, it's just you're sending a message loud and clear. This was the third strike where it was just kind of like, are you kidding me? The freaking I mean, just, getting me to where I can't talk. Get me riled. Then they had their mass layoffs right before Christmas. God, that that just stank. Those poor folks. I realize, I've read enough forums to where that's a common corporate tactic to look good on quarter four is just gut your workforce and then you find yourself in trouble, just hire everybody or hire a bunch of people in at, half the wage you were paying before. It's just slimy, dirty, double crossing, backstabbing, double dealing. Awful. It's awful. I don't support that kind of crap. And then there was the I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but there wasn't much doubt in my mind they're using AI for their art. And it's like, well, not as bad as sending them to Pinkerton to somebody's house, terrorize and intimidate them, but it was still dirty. It was just kind of like, really? You're not even using human beings anymore because you fired everybody. Now there's nobody to do the work, so you're just going to turn to AI to do the art and possibly the writing and who knows what else. It's like, yeah, you know. Oh, and then recently I heard about the most recent one was that, some little Etsy seller selling his little t-shirts derivative of D&D. Not even didn't even have the D&D logo, but it was close enough for WotC to just be like, copyright strike on this little YouTuber ain't even making $20 off this poor site. Like, are you kidding me? That is the absolute definition of punching down. I mean, when we would the training school I went to, we would have we'd have sparring on Saturdays, and you'd have those fellas that would they get somebody who's 2 3 inches smaller than them, 50 pounds lighter, brand new at fighting, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I want to fight that guy." It's like, first of all, that don't teach you nothing, and you don't learn nothing, and it just paints you as a bully, and some other unkind remarks I will not make on YouTube. But this is the same thing. This is just kind of like we're a big bad WotC. We can do a copyright strike on you, and you can't do anything because you can't afford an attorney. Sucker! It's slimy, dirty, double crossing, backstabbing, awfulness, just being awful. And they're just the ball just keeps rolling. And for the longest time, there was that argument. That it's like, well, there's good people at WotC. There's good people at Hasbro. And I'm like, yes, I'm sure there are. There were good people at some of the places that I worked that are just so awful they're flat out illegal. That's no defense. You can't be using the nice people that work for you as human shields against acting in deplorable and awful ways. That's no way to live. That's no way to exist. That's no way to present yourself to the world. Not that I'm trying to shame WotC. They don't care. Especially, I mean, a tiny little YouTuber like me, they don't care what I say. But their image is just gone for me. It's just gone. And I mean, I was feeling kind of off about them ever since they stopped being TSR. I realized TSR had its host of problems too, but you know, it's just been one scandal after another, and not small fries like, oh, did you hear what this did? No, it's just, did you see this awful, deplorable? almost illegal, definitely immoral and unethical ways they've behaved this time. It's like we're to the point where it's this time. And I was just like, you know what? I ain't buying this edition. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing this for a laundry list of reasons. And I know folks out there, I mean, y'all, there's going to be people out there to buy it, and that's fine. That's, everybody's got to make their own decisions what they want to do. Ain't no thing, then, and heck, they probably enjoy it. They're probably just like, wow, this is a really nice edition. I was a big 5e fan. This is a cleaned up version of 5e. I love it. You know, hey, more power to you, you know. But for myself, and I mean, feel free to, you know, comment down below. You agree or disagree? Yeah, maybe keep it civil. We're all neighbors here. Let's have a nice discussion. Keep it polite. I realize this is probably a little touchy, but I just wanted to offer my thoughts and be like, this is what I'm doing and this is why. And if anybody out there, I know people just like me, they go on YouTube, they want to hear opinions pro and against, and, it helps make up the mind, when you hear other folks. Because, like I said, I live in the middle of nowhere. There's not really anybody to talk to outside the old lady. So, I like to sound things off and work through them. And, yeah, so I hope this video will inform and put things in perspective for anybody who may be on the fence or just wanted to hear a sympathetic voice. And again, if you want to buy, you go right ahead. That's your thing. I ain't kicking no dirt in your shoes. So, but anyway, that's all I got. Just a real brief little video here going over that. I hope I entertained you all, and I hope you all have a great evening. Have a good one.